Rated TV MAL.
Welcome to Starseed University, sponsored by Lady Gaga. Yes, over 10 years ago, I had a dream in Lumania where Lady Gaga told me to wear this outfit and I'd be on TV. And guess what? She was right. How? How is it possible and what does it mean? Now I stood in the middle of the road wearing this outfit, which actually has two meanings. And that's going to be the subject matter we are discussing in today's open lecture. Now forgive my shirt. If I had my wardrobe assistant, it would be straight. So just pretend that it is. So what are the two meanings of this outfit? Well, the first meaning is obvious. That's the meaning that every single person thought it meant. That was the trap. That was the point. To show that people don't really know what they're talking about 99% of the time. And so it's very important to have the spirit of discernment so you know what's real and what's not. Especially now with so much artificial intelligence and so much fake news, you have no idea what's real and what's fake. And the things that you consume and see have an effect and influence over the decisions you make and the kind of life that you live. And so studies at Starseed University like this are to help you get a handle on this new 5D reality that we're all in. So the first meaning of this outfit is obviously the KKK. And everybody freaked out. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, he's a Satanist, what is he doing? But if you go look at Spanish culture, you'll notice that this is actually a very holy garment. It is used during the celebrations of Semana Santa, which is a very holy week in Spain. It has absolutely nothing to do with the KKK. But everyone wanted to jump to the negative. And that was the purpose of what I was doing. And so, where did I get it from? Lady Gaga, who is sponsoring this episode, by the way. I felt like Kylie Minogue and come into my world there for a second.
Welcome to
Subscribe to Scribble Bites. Okay, Kylie Minogue didn't talk to anybody, so I'm breaking the mold, Kylie. So Lady Gaga told me that if I wear this outfit, it will cause a stir. And the reason she told me that was to teach me about how the media actually works. And she told me all of this before I even went to film school or even TV school. So everything she told me in my dream came true. And not only did I get onto a national newspaper, but I also went on radio without a single to promote. That's wild, right? And here's the evidence of that. So I know what I'm talking about when I say at Scribble Bites worldwide on YouTube, this is where you'll get the facts on how things happen. Nowhere else will you get the facts. And not only the facts, but the practical application in instant manifestation. So that night, when I woke up, I went looking around for how am I going to create this Semana Santa outfit with zero budget. So I went into the garden shed and I found these old pieces of wood. I knocked them together and made a crucifix. As Kylie Minogue says, we all have a cross to bear. But in the name of understanding now, understanding, Bina, in the tree of life, a problem should be, yes, shared. And what is this problem? It's a problem of miscommunication, of misunderstanding. Because the powers that be, that rule the media, etc., they want to keep you stuck. And so when everybody saw me wearing that, they were like, oh, excellent, let's have him on all the media platforms because this will make everybody freak out more and more. But when I got there, I told them about the game, the night game. And that's when it all really started. So let's cross over to the other side and get into it. But first, before we do that, let's start with the reading, as always, from Matthew 24, verse 24. For false messiahs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. And who are the elect? The elect is you, the faithful. And I see you all looking up at the sky, thinking that those alien ships are real. But as Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is not up there, because if it was, then the birds would precede you. Instead, it's inside of you, in Lumania, where Lady Gaga showed me what to do, and less than 24 hours later, it came true. So let's cross over and get into it. So what was the title of this project? It was called Save Yourself. Jesus is a mind trapper. And of course, the Christians loved that, especially when they were pelting me with rotten eggs on the side of the road. That's very, very Christian-like. Thank you for that. And the media loved it because it was anti-Jesus looking. And so you got this situation where I got the love of the world and drew the ire of the so-called believers. But I want us to unpack exactly what these terms mean. And the reason is because I've been seeing a lot of action and talk online, especially surrounding the whole Wes Huff and Billy Carson fiasco. Now, some people are saying that the principle of what Wes did was wrong because he's going after a black man and you shouldn't do that. Well, I'm here to say that we go after whoever is spewing lies, because there is no more time for a misunderstanding of some very simple things that can be easily proven and misproven by just looking at the text. So what is this text that we are looking at? Well, the original 2,000-year-old text, and today we'll also look at the Talmud and of course the Torah. So let's first start by dividing all the different categories of people that we have in this world. So we have warlocks. So those are just your pure evil, demonic, blood-sacrificing bloodhounds. And then you have your secular people. Those are your people who celebrate Christmas, but they don't really care. They don't really know what it's about. It's just this fun tradition with no meaning behind it. And then you have people who are born deceivers. So they will literally dress up as if they are believers and pretend that they are leading you to the light. And just because they are dressed in those holy robes and outfits, just like the KKK and just like some churches out there, it doesn't mean that you should use them as a reference. It always incenses me when people go to the worst example of a false prophet and then use that as a basis for their opinion on the whole of Christianity. It's like insane. There's no need to even draw a parallel with it because it's just not fair. It's apples to oranges. And the sad part is that we have it in our book that there will be false prophets out there. So why don't people like Billy Carson tack all of those people that they use to prove that Christianity is wrong? Why don't they tag on that verse, Matthew 24:24? Why do they conveniently ignore that? And then we've got warlocks, right? Let's recap. We've got warlocks, demons, throw them out, vanquish them. We've got secular people, blind, NPCs that don't know what's going on. But we are essentially, as Star Marines, tasked with protecting them, their innocence. And then you've got the wicked false prophets who intentionally misguide and mislead people through a misunderstanding, whether intentional or not, of the word. Well, I'm going to treat them all as hostile witnesses because the evidence is already there. And so at this point, it is simply willful ignorance to not know what you're talking about. And there will be no mercy anymore for such individuals, regardless of the color of their skin. Because why should we suffer? Because you have a platform and you can tell people lies and they believe you. And then us in the real world, as actors in our movies, we suffer. Hi, I'm great. Subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I do. I know Magobe, I'll never forget her. But I think I remember you. You always used to go on holiday together? Yes. How is she? Please tell her to contact me on YouTube. Because all my Instagram, I'm not on there anymore. Because I have to delete so that I can record for the channel. Scribble Bytes worldwide. Like scribble and then bytes, like megabytes. One word. Awesome. Please tell her I said hi. I love corpse. Okay. So, being an actor, whenever I say I'm an actor and a celebrity, that happens. Have you guys noticed that on the show? And by the way, shout out to Magobe. I love her. She's amazing. Pisces. She helped me in a tight pinch when I was running away from. Whew. I've lived. Yes. It's not my first rodeo, guys, as you can see. Evidence. I'm just dripping with evidence. And yet people keep looking up at the sky. And then I have to walk here and sweat. Why? Because you idiots don't know what's real and what's not. Well, we're going to disabuse you of any such ill notions you might have about us. So, we have warlocks. Zip them up, throw them out. And then we have the secular people. Cool, but they can't help you because they don't even know that magic is real. And then you've got those pesky little false prophets, those satanic ones who use their powers for bad. And yes, they can do miracles, but they aren't miracles because there's nothing good that comes out of them. But they can do party tricks, and that's okay. And then you have us, number 4, the Star Marines. And us, the Star Marines, are tasked with protecting the integrity of the Word, because the Word is what this matrix is based on. And as we come up to the crossroads of Metatron, it's a perfect place for us to begin. So when I said Jesus is a mind trapper, I wasn't talking about the Jesus that you all are talking about. And Lady Gaga told me that if I say that, the media would be happy. And sure enough, in less than 24 hours, they were. Now, I've released my new music project for the past couple of months. Not one radio station has gotten back to me to playlist the song. But I dress up as a KKK and I get on the media immediately. So that alone should tell you who operates the media. I'm just laughing because I got you guys so good. And I always get my mark. I always get my targets. I'm just so good at that. And so I documented the entire process for that reason. And when they called back and said, come, we're gonna make you a star, I said, no, thank you. I'm going to school to study. Because being a star wasn't my goal. So let's talk about what everyone in Africa knows. Well, everyone who's been initiated knows. There's something called the false light. We talked about that when we mentioned Venus and how that machine came here after the Draconians felt bad for what they did. And so they sent the spaceship, which I'm on, in the 6th dimension, but in the 3D, you're seeing me here now, like a normal person, coming to you from Lumania. And so when we came here as the aliens, we decided that the humans needed an upgrade because they don't know what the heck they're doing. And they don't really like to read. So we had to come and use images because not everybody can read. Some people struggle with reading and they are in the secular world, you know, like neurodivergent people. But an image is worth 1,000 words, and so we decided to come to you the best way we know how as Lumanians, through images and sound, through light and music, just to tell you how this artificial light actually works. So this artificial light, when I told you in that lesson where we drew the different dimensions and I showed you Gwyneth Paltrow and Aishwarya Rai and Salman Khan, I also said there's something else that's created at the same time. What I was alluding to was the klepothic side of the tree of life, the dark side of creation. Because when you shatter a vessel that's been filled with light, as we discussed in Ultimate Vessels of Light, darkness appears. Think about it. If you have a vessel, a clay jar, and it bursts open, those cracks are darkness. And so while yes, you expand the light, you also create a complementary darkness with it. And so yes, when Venus came, it created a satanic, dark, klepothic version of itself as well. And that dark version includes a dark Jesus, a fake Jesus, the Antichrist, as you say. And that's what we're going to be talking about. How does the Antichrist work and how to recognize it when you see it? So when this false light came with this wonderful benefits that we have of living in the 3D, that little false light came with the fake Jesus as well. And that fake Jesus is the one that people like Billy Carson is using to mislead and misdirect people. And that is when Star Marines get activated to put a stop to it. Before I go into it, you need to know this, because for the same reason that Lady Gaga told me to do all of this in a dream all those years ago, it's the same reason why you need to know this. For the same reason why Lady Gaga would throw up all those hand signals. She wasn't telling us to support those people. She was making us research those people so that we would be aware of what's really going on. Look at the music video for Bad Romance. The whole thing is a human trafficking video. Before human trafficking was even a thing, a known thing. Lady Gaga's doing it in the Bad Romance video. They wash her up, they put her on display, and these rich men bid on her. I would know. I've been through a Bad Romance myself a couple of months ago. And so I want to go back to scripture to give us permission to talk about this. And we have to look at Matthew 10 verse 16, which says, "Be wise as serpents and as innocent and as harmless as doves." So in your actions, be innocent. Don't use this information to become the problem. Use this information to strengthen your resolve and your wisdom so that you don't get taken in by the false light or the Antichrist. And then let's look at the Kabbalah or Jewish tradition. In Jewish tradition, they talk about something called the Malach Tov and the Malach Ra. Now let's cross before we go into it. Now the Malach Tov and the Malach Ra are both a part of you. You might have seen this trope in movies where you have the good angel on one side and the bad angel on the other side. Like I said in one of the other lectures, the reason we use the Torah and the Talmud really is because our society and our thinking draws on that book, the studies, the discussions of the rabbis in the Talmud, in order to frame our reality. And so whenever you see that trope of a bad angel and a good angel, that's the Malach Tov, the good angel, and the Malach Ra, the bad angel. And everyone is born with this. But it's vitally important to Star Marines, because in this movie we are focusing on you because your Malach Tov and Malach Ra are awakened. The secular people, their Malach Tov and Malach Ra are sleeping. That's why they just believe what everybody else tells them. And as for the warlocks, they don't even have a Malach Tov. Their Malach Tov is silent, because all they do is listen to the Malach Ra, the evil angel. And then the false prophets know about both of them, but they choose to ignore the good one and do all their best to get out of the consequences of their devilish actions. And so it's important for us, when we talk about the good angel and the bad angel, to not freak out, because you're not supposed to vanquish one of them. You're supposed to join them together. You're supposed to bring your Malach Ra into the light. It's supposed to work for you, like we talked about with King Solomon and how he got the demons to build this temple. You are to take authority over your Malach Ra, because it's part of your tikkun. Because as that vessel of light explodes and the darkness is created, it is our job as Star Marines to repair what has been broken. And to do that, you take authority over the evil angel. So how do you take this authority? Well, you first realize that you have free will and that you are not subject to the invisible forces and influences of this world. Instead, you are king over those forces, because you use them to create as above, so below. As above, in your pineal gland in Atziluth, it is invisible. I cannot see what's in your mind, only you can. So use those forces to create and bring your creations down here. And how you will recognize it is because you will see the signs. And once you've seen the signs, you won't go back. Now I want you to think of your good angel and evil angel like matter and antimatter. Now, I've dreamt of the fake Jesus before. I'll tell you what happened very briefly. So in my dream, I was standing on the beach, and there was a white man and a black man, and they were each standing at opposite ends of this machine, and they were turning the machine that was connected to the ocean. And as they turned this machine, it was dragging a body out of the ocean. And the body that came out of the ocean was an exact replica, a 3D live, walking, moving, breathing replica of the picture of Jesus that we always see in Eurocentric art. You know, that white man with the crown of thorns, wearing a nice loincloth and a nice six-pack and V abs. And they pulled him out of the water, and both the black man and the white man were hugging him, holding him up, helping him. And then all of a sudden, I was in a hotel room on the top floor. And I see this fake Jesus guy knocking on people's doors, and people would go out and follow him. And then I came out because he didn't knock on my door, and I stood there looking at him take everybody in the hotel suites and lead them to an elevator. And as I stand outside the elevator, the doors close and it goes down. And when I saw that in my dream, I was like, uh-oh, nothing good happens that goes down. And then suddenly I was in this museum or art place, like an art gallery, and there were all these ancient Sumerian texts and ancient artworks, you know, like cuneiform and those rock thingies from Sumeria, and they were being smashed. I won't tell you who was smashing them, but they were being smashed and broken, and all chaos ran loose. And I woke up after that dream, and I knew what I'd seen was not the real Jesus. It was the Antichrist. And I saw how easily people followed it, all the way down to hell. Now, a lot of people know that fake Jesus as the son of the Pope, I think Pope Alexander, the Borgia guy. I don't even take time to learn demonic things. But it's mainly through the Eurocentric arts. And the main argument is, well, of course white people are going to make a white Jesus because it looks like them. But it's written that you shall not make any graven images of anything in heaven. And if Jesus is in heaven, why are you drawing his face? When we already know he had brown skin because he was Middle Eastern. So do you see how insidious this evil is? It's obvious. But people still insist on latching onto it. And it's getting boring. Get with the program, people. Now, if you have the Talmud, I'd like you to go look up the Berachot 60b. Look up the Berachot 60b. We're not going to get into it now. So now that I've explained how this fake Jesus came, you know, it's just a form of idolatry. It was used for racism, and it's basically a demon because all it does is cause chaos. So let's look at some of the chaos that this thing has caused. Grab a snack and come on back while I give you a message from our sponsors. This is a movie that you're watching. You need to suspend disbelief the same way you suspend disbelief when you go into a cinema. The style of this movie that you're watching is called Cinema Verite, and it is brought to you on behalf of Night Game ARG by CRS, or Creative Resemiotization Schematics. If you need to know more, look up Real Artist Cares, the social development arm of Scribble Bites worldwide. Back to your scheduled programming. So let's look at all of the deeds that this fake Jesus has committed in the name of the real one to disabuse you of any notion that anything Billy Carson and his like say is real. Number one, 1096 to 1291. What happened? Well, that was the year and time of the Crusades. Yes, the Knights Templar went killing everybody for 200 years, almost 3,000 years, in the name of this fake Jesus. Do we kill? No, thou shalt not kill. So do not associate the Christians, please, with the Knights Templar and the Crusades. Take that out. Done. Next, the Spanish Inquisition. They went around and tried to turn the Spanish, the Mesoamericans. They tried to turn them into Christians. How? By trying to kill them, bribe them, and poison them, and accuse them of witchcraft. Did Jesus do any of that? No. He just told them the word. Colonialism in the 15th and 16th century. That was another tool that was used to make people believe in the false prophecy of the fake Jesus. So colonialism, all of the people who came here and made South Africa what it was, fake. In the name of Jesus, they did not come. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. What about the witch hunts in the 16th century in, of all places, Salem? Salem means peace. Jesus was born in Jerusalem. So of course it's not real. The witch hunts were not trying to take out evil. They were trying to get rid of the good people. Star Marines. What about the KKK? They claim to be doing God's work. But no, they are sowing seeds of discourse and division for political power. What about King Henry VIII, who all of a sudden decided to use the church for his own personal gain when he decided to separate from the Catholic Church and make the Church of England so he could get a divorce? Does that have anything to do with Jesus? No, so do not associate it with us. What about Adolf Hitler, Nazi Germany, 1940s, 1933 to 1945? He said he was doing what he was doing because Jesus went and flipped the tables in the temple. No, Jesus might have done that, but he did not gas anyone en masse and experiment on them and try and take them to Antarctica to open some alien portal into the Klepothic realm. Where did Jesus do that? Nowhere. So leave us out of it. What about prosperity preachers? The people on TV who tell you to donate money to sow your seed, or else you will not get a blessing. Did Jesus tell you to give him money? No. He told you to return to Caesar what is Caesar's. Did I tell you to give me money? No. I said, watch this stuff. That's your payment. Pay me with your attention. False prophets, guys. And what about the Jonestown massacre? It was led by a so-called preacher. So surely that's our fault, isn't it? No. We had nothing to do with Jonestown because nowhere did Jesus lead people to a secret island. In fact, he did the opposite. He said we shouldn't hide. We should be up on a hill, not hiding in the bushes. Lie number one. Number two, so those people shouldn't have gone. That was like red flag number one. Do not go to an island. You were told not to go there. In the book, if you read it, it would help. Number two, no one said you must drink Kool-Aid. You're supposed to drink the sacrament of wine. Whatever we're on. What about the Branch Davidians? Remember those guys at Waco? First of all, that David guy was actually kind of hot, right? What a waste of meat to just be riddled with bullet holes. And people are out here single, looking, and you have to go be a nut job, Mr. Waco. Again, that has nothing to do with us because Jesus didn't tell us to hide on a farm and wait for the apocalypse. What about Heaven's Gate, T and Doe? They told everybody they need to go on the mothership. So they all took the drink and went up to the mothership, I guess. They said Jesus was an alien who wanted them to cross over. Guys, why would Jesus send us here and then make us cross over to go on a mothership? We are here for a reason. You're not going anywhere, so don't listen to that nonsense. It has nothing to do with us, Billy Carson. What about Andrea Yates in 2001? She drowned her children in a bathtub and said God made her do it. Honestly, where did Jesus drown people, children? In fact, Jesus said, bring the children to me. What is wrong with you people? To even make up such a lie is ridiculous. Andrea drowned her kids and says Jesus told her to do it. The one who loves the kids, who told the disciples, hey, let the kids come to me. And she uses this as a defense. No, I rebuke you. And what about Deanna Laney, 2003? She stoned her kids to death because she said God did it. Where did Jesus stone people to death? In fact, Jesus said, let one without sin cast the first stone. So can you see how evident and how many of these false prophets and teachings there really are? And then let's not get started on the faith healers. You know, those people who say, don't take medicine, Jesus will help you. Don't go to the doctor that Jesus sent to earth to study the field of medicine so that he can help you. Don't go to him. Just go to sleep and never wake up again. Do you see a common thread with all of these fake Jesus teachings? It always ends up with someone disappearing from this reality. And I'm totally against that, as was Jesus. Now, what about this one? What about the people who are pro-life or who commit anti-abortion violence? Now that's rich. These people, you can look them up, they have blown up abortion centers where young, scared women are going for some help. And then people wonder why young women will wrap babies up and throw them in the trash. Because you so-called Christians, false Christians, go and blow up these places of medicine where people actually can go to get help. How are you servicing the kingdom? What is wrong with you people that I have to come out here in the rain to tell you common, easy things while standing opposite Grace Family Church? Do not get me started on the Westboro Baptist Church. The Westboro Baptist Church is probably the best example of false prophets and demons masquerading as workers of the light. How can you stand at the funeral of a soldier who dedicated their life to serve their country and call them horrible names in the name of Jesus? Where did Mark, Matthew, and all of those people, okay, Mark wasn't there apparently, but where did the disciples stand around at Lazarus's tomb and say, yeah, Lazarus was a rubbish? No! They told him to get up. Vuka Lazarus, don't you guys know this? So the Westboro people have nothing to do with us, Billy and friends. Now what about Christian nationalism? demonic. The people who want the whole country to believe in the same thing. Jesus came for the Gentiles. He came because the Gentiles had nothing to rely on to get into the kingdom. Because oftentimes the Gentiles were much poorer than the Pharisees. And so they couldn't afford all of these animal sacrifices that had to be done every single week. And Jesus came to fulfill the word, which is they can be saved as well by just having some bread and wine, unlike warlocks and Satanists who eat people and drink their blood. I should know, I saw them in Asia. They tried to eat me. And then what about faith healers and miracle workers? Now it's one thing if you're like David Blaine or Darren Brown and you actually tell people that what you're doing is fake, that it's entertainment, that it's a movie. It's another thing if you go around writing books talking about emerald tablets, which are in the fourth dimension anyway, and then mischaracterize our Redeemer and Savior as truth. You're watching a movie right now and there's more truth and research in this movie than has ever come out of some of these false prophets' mouths. And with these false prophets always comes false prophecies. And these false prophecies are meant to distract you from doing your life's work, your purpose, your mission. I mean, have you guys heard of Harold Camping? He told people that Jesus was coming back over and over and over again. And people believed him. They went and sold all their possessions because they kept believing it. And then some of you have the nerve to tell me that I'm a Satanist? Get out of town. Who did I tell to sell their possessions? Who did I lead astray? Do you see how infected your minds have become? Do you see how sick some of you have become? Why? Because you have an emotional complex. For some reason, you blame God and Jesus for your problems when you should be looking at the devil. That's who's misleading you and pointing you to the wrong source. You cannot use these examples that I've given you to prove that God is bad. Because everything I've told you had nothing to do with God. None of it had any foundation in the scripture. Now go to 2 Corinthians 11 to 14. And it'll tell you why this is possible. Guys, it's written there. Are you for real right now? 2 Corinthians 11 to 14. And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. Case closed. So Billy Carson, you are going to continue to suffer tribulations until you admit that you lied, misspoke, and misunderstood the word. And this isn't me saying it. It's Amos chapter 9 saying it. I take no pleasure in what's been happening to you and people like you. However, I do take pleasure that the word is being fulfilled in our favor, because we are the ones who fought that spiritual warfare earlier this year that allowed all of the stuff that's happening now to happen. A lot of people wanted us gone. A lot of people thought that we weren't going to be here to tell you all of this. And those people are now being eaten by the very Satan that they serve. And and it's good, because the word must be fulfilled, because the word is good. It is light after all. Now, if you don't even know about Jesus or whatever, you're just a general viewer here at Scribble Bites, let me just give you an example you'll understand, right? This is for the secular folks. Have you guys seen Charmed? The TV show Charmed. Charmed, season 1, episode 7 is a perfect demonstration of 2 Corinthians 11 to 14. 2 Corinthians 11. So it's obviously 2 Corinthians 1, 11 to 14. I'll double check that. I'm an actor, guys, and even I know. So Charmed season 1, episode 7, it was called The Fourth Sister. And this is a perfect example of false prophets. So in the episode, there's this girl who's alone. She has emotional problems because of her family situation. Sound familiar, Billy? And so she starts talking to an alien demon in her mirror. And she makes friends with this thing. And this thing tells her she's special, she has magic powers, and that she needs to go and find the charmed ones, the 3 sisters, who protect all innocence. And it's interesting that on Charmed they use the same symbol as the Methodist Church. So, good for you, Aaron Spelling. We got one in. We got one through Hollywood. And Star Marine is next. We're gonna sneak it into Hollywood, guys. We've already done it because we don't need Hollywood. So, this girl named Aviva is talking to this demon in her mirror, and she doesn't know it's a demon because every time she turns around, the camera cuts to the mirror and there's fire everywhere. So we, the audience, know she's talking to a false prophet talked about in Matthew 24:24. And so this girl listens to this demon. She goes to find the charmed ones and she says, hey, I'm one of you. I believe like you. And the charmed ones, as Star Marines would, were like, who the heck are you? We don't know about a 4th sister. We only know about the 3. You know, it's only 3 that we know about, not 4. Who's 4? So she gets upset at being rejected by the charmed ones. And so what does she do? She doesn't go home like a normal Christian would. She tries to kill them. Do you see how crazy you people are sometimes? I'm so glad this is a movie. And Quentin Tarantino can say anything. I also say whatever in my movie. In the name of Quentin. It's like so obvious. And I am sick and tired of people who keep wanting to support whatever Billy and people like him are saying. Because it's utter rubbish, as we say in South Africa. Rubbish. Nonsense. Umsangano umbhedo. Bayabheda labantu. I live in a cradle of humankind. I think I would know. I don't eat processed foods every day. My mind is working fine. I'm not being drugged, microdosed by my boss anymore. I escaped and vanquished that bitch. So I could come here and give you this message in a language that you would understand in my movie that I researched for years and years. That I got from my government funding. So I'm literally standing on authority over authority, authority everywhere. Oscar-winning school authority, research authority. And it's all available online. Go read my research. I'm not talking out of my ass. I actually know what I'm talking about, and I have references too. I'm sick of these people with these huge platforms lying, and then we have to suffer because of it. Get out of town. another episode of Charmed, season 3, episode 22. Spoiler alert, this is the one where Prue doesn't make it. And why doesn't Prue make it? Because some witch following a false prophet shoots Piper in the stomach. And then they have to go turn back time. So how does it start? Well, the charmed ones are busy trying to vanquish the demon Shax. That's the Source's assassin. And they get exposed publicly for using magic. And so now everybody looks at them as the bad guys. Sound familiar? Hashtag relatable? Much? So now everyone thinks the charmed ones are bad until they talk to the innocent that they saved. And he's like, no, they're awesome. They saved my life from this demon. And so now the media wants to know all about them. And of course, some lonely woman with an emotional issue which needs to be sorted out with the medical professional decides to go visit the charmed ones. And so she goes and breaks into their house and she says, I'm one of you. I also am a witch. I know magic. Imagine I'm a star marine minding my business at home, dealing with something. Then someone comes into my house. I'm a star marine. And then, of course, what does Prue do? Prue goes, and the girl goes flying through the windows. And instead of taking that as a hint to just go, she comes back with an M16 carbine rifle and shoots Piper in the stomach, while Leo is underground with Phoebe. I blame Phoebe. Falling in love with demons. That's a whole other episode. You guys need to stop falling in love with demons, okay? I know they're hot and they know just what to say, but get it together. Get with the program. You're in the angel network now. So this supposed good witch starts telling the media that the charmed ones are evil, that they're mean. Just like Billy, God is evil, God is mean. So you're gonna go and shoot someone in the stomach. So who really is the evil and mean one in that situation? You have to look and judge by people's actions and the fruits of their actions. If people like Billy were so good, why is everyone starting to see through the illusion? If it was so holy, why are the fruits not bearing? The fruits ain't fruiting anymore, evil, because we won the spiritual battle. That's why I'm even allowed to be on here talking to you. I had to also be like undercover 99% of the time, but because the word was fulfilled, I am free. And I'm going to protect my freedom because I am a son of light in the order of Melchizedek. And no one is going to come in and challenge my authority over these things that I fought so hard to overcome and beat and vanquish back to the hellish fourth dimension where they come from. So going back to the beginning, why did I dress up in that KKK outfit? Well, one, it wasn't a KKK outfit. It was a Semana Santa outfit. You are the ones who made it a KKK outfit because that's what you wanted. That is proof that the evil comes from your brain and your brain alone, not from mine. It's like Madonna says in Human Nature. Go read the lyrics to that song. They're very pertinent right now. And also in the music video, she dresses up like a demon. It's ironic, guys. We dress up like demons because we know that's what you want. But if you actually listen to the words, you'll hear what we're saying. And that's what Lady Gaga wanted to show me. So don't forget to share this with all your friends. Like, leave a comment, subscribe, because here we give you evidence. I am who I say I am, and I can prove it. Are you?